Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hey everybody, this is Mike here, and you're listening to the All Metal Mode UK podcast with myself and Mr. Dave Sadler. Yesterday, I actually got out to do a little beach hunting, which was a lot of fun, kinda, sorta, maybe. I don't get much beach hunting around here because all of our lakes, our freshwater lakes, the beaches are gravel, and they are just a bear to dig in. But there is one. My in-laws are in town, and there was one over close. They're staying about 45 minutes away, and right in the little neighborhood they're at, it's a really nice sand beach. So I went out there yesterday with the Amphibio and the big 15-inch coil, and I'll tell you what, that thing was impressive. Now, it was horrible, my finds. Dave, I found 1 penny. That's what I found, 1 penny. But I found a pocket full of aluminum, pull tabs, bottle caps.
Whoa. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
We're in England now. It's aluminium.
Aluminium. Yeah, my bad. I found a bunch of aluminium. And I love how you guys... real quick, sidetrack. I got to tell you, when I watch shows over in the UK, it took me forever to understand what aluminium was. I'm like, what are they talking about? Oh, aluminum. So aluminium, yeah, I love that. But what was impressive to me, well, first off, there's got to be, I think the guys that hunt that go in there and they dig out all the coins, which is great. I don't care. If I'm going to a beach, I want to find gold. I want to find a gold ring. And there was so much aluminum and stuff there. There's no doubt in my mind that there's a good opportunity to find a gold ring. But with that 15-inch coil, my goodness, man, I was finding little, the beaver tails off of pull tabs, 10, 12, 14 inches deep like nothing. So although it would take a lot of cleaning out and a lot of digging, I'm sure there's a couple rings hanging out around there. So, but it was fun. It was fun to get out swinging and see what the Amphibio would do. I'll tell you, in beach mode, it was very impressive. I was very impressed.
Mike, I'm going to have to pick you up on another one of your words there. When What's you that? Have time, have a look what swinging means in the UK.
No, it's same here. I mean, yeah, but we swing our detectors. We say it like that here too. And yeah, swinging's the same thing over here. Dogging's a little different. I mean, I guess that's not real popular here, but I know you guys...
Taking your dog for a walk, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exactly. So, let's get to it. What do you got news-wise?
News-wise, well, I actually, some of the listeners know, it's been a difficult period for me to actually get out and about. But 2 weeks ago, I actually got out with a Facebook group called Find a Field Metal Detecting Group, and thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. It was just what I needed: the walk, the exercise, the fresh air, and above all, swinging a detector. Now, as you know, I've never used the old Rutus Alta 71 before. Put it together, inadvertently put the stem on the wrong way, but that's a different story. Had a marvelous time. I was finding loads of junk because I was digging everything just to get a feel for the machine. And I think the people who were praising the Rutus Alta 71, they've not got it wrong. I really did enjoy using it, and I was using the middle coil of the three that come in the particular pack that I've got. And obviously, I have no knowledge of any of the settings and such like, so I just cracked on. But when I did change the settings, now again, another thing about myself is that coins are great. Coins are what we look for. Obviously, the better, the bigger the better, the bigger hoard, etc. But for me, I like to find artifacts, something with potentially a story attached to them. And again, meaningless to most detectorists, meaningless to most people who are listening, but I found a pair of Victorian nutcrackers, which I personally haven't seen anybody find before, although it's allegedly quite common. But I've cleaned them up, I've treated them, preserved them, and they're in my display cabinet now. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, a big shout out to Find a Field, a metal detecting group, who I am going again this Sunday with. So you can find obviously them on Facebook. Also in the news, a massive big shout out to Gary Williams and the KC rallies over here in the UK. In Malvern is sort of like a beautiful part of the country, sort of lower middle of the area, above Bristol and such like, I think. They've had a hoard up 51 William III silver shillings and sixpences. The coins date back to around 1697. So big thanks to Chris White for notifying us from the field of the discovery. We were able to put the video footage on our Facebook page, and they've obviously given us all the information to put an article together with images and links to everything. So absolutely gorgeous coins, Mike. Absolutely fantastic. So thanks for that, and obviously, keep up the good work. Additionally, a couple of other news items in the UK. There's been witch marks found in Creswell Crags, which is a limestone gorge in Nottinghamshire-Derbyshire border. So these include hundreds of letters and symbols and pattern carved when belief in witchcraft was widespread. So that's been big in the news in the UK. Additionally, a gold medieval ring has been found in Ludlow and has been declared treasure by the coroner. They believe it to be from the 13th to 14th century. Beautiful gold ring. It's like a hoop which is slightly misshapen. The bezel is formed by the hoop divided into two horizontal strands, each with a stirrup type of bezel with a conical cell. So it's beautiful. And while during the show, I'll share these news items onto the All Metal Mode UK podcast Facebook page as well. Awesome. And final bit of the news, Mike, and if my favourite word, as my favourite new word that I've learned, segue, it'll lead us on, obviously, to tonight's guest, Steve Tomlinson. The earliest skull dug up from the River Thames by a mudlarker belongs to a nomadic Briton who roamed London 5,600 years ago. So it's an ancient skull fragment been found by a mudlarker on the River Thames. And again, I'll share that information over. It's not much to most people, but it is a fantastic little bit of a skull cap with the eye sockets and everything in place. So that leads us on, obviously, to tonight's guest, Mr. Steve Tomlinson, who is a mudlarker from, am I right in saying Margate, Steve?
Yeah, well, born in Margate, but now living in Washington. That's right, Dave.
There you go.
Yeah.
So obviously, myself, I'm very interested in mudlarking. I spoke to Wal last night and discussed the hobby and some other bits and bobs. I think it's been made famous in the UK by a TV program called, was it called Mudlarks? Am I right in saying that?
Yes.
Mudmen,
wasn't it? That's correct.
With Steve Booker and Johnny Vaughan, who's a UK TV alleged celebrity, Mike. Thinks he's funny, but he really isn't. Anyway, they brought the story onto the forefront of mudlarking in the UK several years ago with what you would call a cable TV series. So obviously, Steve, first and foremost, welcome. Thanks for coming onto the show. I'm very excited to speak to you tonight.
Thank you very much, Dave.
You're welcome. Could you first introduce yourself before I ask you to introduce mudlarking?
Yes, well, yeah, I work as a wildlife ecologist manager down in Folkestone, and I've always got various interests, really, a lot of interest, played a lot of sport in my time, a lot of cricket, a lot of football, a lot of snooker. I play pool now. Very, very active, love the outdoor life, did a lot of walking. And yeah, just just love the outdoors, really. Love sort of like doing the beach combing, sort of mudlarking, and everything like that. Love travelling as well. And that's sort of main hobbies, really, and that side. Love my job as well. I went out and done a master's degree in environmental conservation and law, and backed up with my wildlife consultancy that I do now. And it's fantastic. Really, really love it.
Really does sound it, yeah. So again, as I say, we're talking about mudlarking primarily tonight. Can you give us a brief description of what mudlarking is about?
Well, to me, really, I think mudlarking is literally going out anywhere, literally, I suppose, around mud, looking for artefacts and finds. It doesn't necessarily have to be the River Thames or anywhere like that. It can literally be anywhere which has got historical interest. Could be a farmer's field. It could be a little lay-by, really. But, mudlarking, as probably we know it today, is really associated with the Thames because that's what we look at. But literally could be anywhere. I've been on private land looking for artefacts and finds, which is literally thick with mud, which has got nothing to do with the sea or water or anything like that. So literally, you sort of like you do your history, your background, and you go with permission sometimes with landowners to go on different properties and hope the best, really, and see what you can get.
So again, primarily, we do know if you say mudlarker, we automatically think of the River Thames.
Absolutely.
And I take it, well, for those who don't know, I know vaguely, you have to be in some way licensed to participate, am I right?
Yes, that is correct, yeah. To do any sort of searching on the Thames foreshore, which includes metal detecting, searching and digging, anyone who wishes to search the tidal Thames will need a current foreshore permit, which is obtained from the Port of London Authority. So an application has to go in before anything can be done. You can't just go on. A few years ago, I'm not sure how long ago, but a few years ago it wasn't such a case, but very, very recently this is the case, especially in the heart of London. The Port London Authority, they normally issue two types of foreshore permits. One is a standard permit, which allows digging roughly to a depth of about 7.5 centimetres. That's really for all new applicants. And for mudlark, it allows digging to a depth of 1.2 metres. The permit is only issued to members of the Thames Mudlark Society, although people from the outside can also apply because they do sort of day permits as well for £33. But yes, you can't just go onto the River Thames and start any sort of area. Like there are restricted areas as well, which you are not allowed to go onto. So that is really the case. Yes, the first port of call is to go through the Port of London Authority.
So obviously, if I was to get hold of a license to participate, and you mentioned the areas that you can't go to, what type of areas would that be, and why? Is it down to erosion and such like, or is there the potential of very, very significant items that might not make their way back to museums, for instance?
Yeah, there's potential like that. You could go into probably like the Treasure Act, probably, which is one key scenario, really, I suppose, when you're going onto the foreshore. It is under the Queen as well, authority, so it's really I think you're sort of Greenwich is a place where I know it's sort of like quite restricted, and places like that, but not all the Thames. There is, further away from the Thames, there's a debate whether the licence covers areas away from the main heart of London. But yeah, I think really the case is the fact that I think you could have sort of 100 to 300 people going down onto the Thames foreshore at any point, sort of like, it could be erosion. It's a dangerous place to be as well. You have to be very careful with the tides. It's quite easy to go down there and Well, literally, not keeping an eye on the sea, and it it can come up, and it could be caught as well. So there's a lot of safety issues. So yeah, as I say, there's cases where you can only sort of like look at items out picking up. So it's quite sort of like the permit really and the license really covers you for a lot of things, really.
Yeah. So you mentioned the tidal flow and the dangers of the tidal flow. Obviously, you can easily pick up the tide, what it's going to be and when during the day. That's obviously readily available by the internet and such like. Have you ever been in a position where you've nearly been in the position of being cut off by the tide or affected by the tide?
No. No, not yet. But I'm sure there's going to be a first. I think with mudlarker or beachcomb as well, probably on the same lines really, you have to be so careful because you can quite easily get lost in your own world, and you're so you're concentrating on what you're doing, what you're looking for, and everything like that. You can quite easily be caught out, and it doesn't take long. I mean, normally low tide 4 hours. If, say, low tide was 11 o'clock in the morning, you'd normally be out about 4 hours before that. You wouldn't be out dead on low tide because by 11 o'clock, the tide's starting to retract back in, so you need to be out there before. So it's a case of, but it's easily done. There's various people I know that have been caught out, which have had to literally climb up the ladder, jump over the wall, sort of thing. But, yeah, it's I can imagine it's easily done.
So, obviously, there's a lot of things in there. London has got a massive history. If we come much more towards modern day, World War One and World War Two, for instance, have you ever found any munitions, or are you worried that you may find some munitions or something that you might have to look at in a different manner than you normally would?
Well, where I go in the Thames, I don't think there's much of that, hopefully. So, sort of further down, not in the heart of London, but yeah, I suppose there's cases where the Thames has had so much history over hundreds and hundreds of years that there could be absolute almost anything. And it's just amazing, really. I can imagine what gets washed up every day. It's phenomenal. Where I mean, it's been. The London sites, the mudlarking sites, the foreshore finds, London mudlarks, incredible finds, and it just goes to show what was chucked in that river, really.
Yeah, and I mean it's great for yourself. I'm sure that one day you can go there and you will find a piece of clay pipe. The next day, the water will have changed the landscape completely. You'll be looking at a totally different area that you looked exactly yesterday. You could find a Roman coin. The next day you could find something medieval, etc., etc. So it's a perfect scenario of being a different landscape where you go every time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you mudlarked purely in the heart of London, various areas. I mean, the River Thames is miles long, 170 odd miles. It's a long way. It's a long way. But when you're talking of the London side, amazing amount of finds. Yeah, you start drifting away probably a little bit from London, probably not as much, but still places where there is good. Which the place I tend to be more. I don't, much into the heart of London, but yeah, the finds there that other people have found is extraordinary. Yeah, absolutely amazing, and it's a great hobby, absolutely fantastic, and you never know one day to the next, really.
Yeah, and you are a member of the London Society for Mudlarkers.
I'm on the groups and everything. Yes, I am. Yes, Thames Foreshore Finds. Yeah,
that's the one. Sorry,
Thames page. Yeah, and the
no. You know the one that you're a member of a certain group that only them. You have to be a member of a group to take part in. As you said earlier, to garner the license.
Yes, yeah. I mean, if you guys, I don't do much of the heart of London. I'm away from that side,
right?
So I do further down. So I'm with you. It's not covered with.
So you can just do it by just going down yourself, just as you want. Yeah.
If I did the London side, then I would need a license because I
I'm
wouldn't
with
be allowed on that, and I wouldn't do that. So I would be. I'm a lot further down and away. But yes, the license I will be getting. Yeah,
right. I'm with you. So, I mean, I used to work in the industrial cleaning business, and one of the areas that we done was working with areas with dirty water. Now, obviously, there's a lot of sewage, a lot of dirt, a lot of muck that's gone through the Thames for many, many years.
Yes.
And other areas, obviously, that you take part in the hobby. Are you not scared about any potential diseases, the likes of leptospirosis or anything like that?
That's a good question, actually. I don't think you think about it, actually, to be honest. I mean, luckily where I go, there isn't. But I'd imagine when you get up to the London, I'll presume, probably this day and age, with, sort of like animals carrying diseases like that, it's a possibility. But I imagine it's rare, I should think, if it happens.
But again, being a wildlife ecologist, I'm sure your mind will look at that in the first place.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. I mean, I could take some needles and inject myself, I suppose. But you look at it as if you love the hobby. Yeah, you do. You don't take silly risk, or you wouldn't do anything absolutely ridiculous, or go to an area where there's infestations or things like that, because it'd just be. It'd be crazy to do so. So then you would, obviously be careful. Away from those sort of areas where you're going to be safe, then it's different. Yes, yeah.
So obviously, in short, that's a basic guide and information into mudlarking. In introduction, people know a little bit more about it now, and a little bit more about what's involved in what we did, what you're doing. Not me. I'm still desperate to take part, obviously.
Come out one day, Dave. We'll sort you out. You'll be all right.
I'd absolutely love to, and honestly, I really would. Now, recently, you had a bit of a piece of media exposure for one of your personal finds. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, the shoe find, or the.
We'll go for that one. We'll go for that one.
We'll go for the shoe find. Yeah, it's Well, that was part of Thames, but away from the main area of the Thames in London. And funny enough, I wasn't actually out specifically looking at the time. I was just out, and I was by this big clump of clay mud, big area, and this sort of shoe was just sticking out of the mud, and I thought, well, have a look and see, and got out of the clay mud. And to be honest, at first, I think it's like anything. You don't really think you've got anything in your hand, and you look and you think, pile of rubbish, really. But then looking at it again, it would, I thought, well, I don't know, I think this has something here. I think this could be something. And I thought, we got nothing to lose. So I pulled it out. I took it home. I made some calls to several archaeologists around the country, and I think the initial response was, "Oh my God, you got to get it in the fridge. Get it in the fridge now, in water, in the bag, preserve it." Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, okay, this is quite interesting. So I put it in the fridge, and I put the word around, and unfortunately, I had a lot of good help, brilliant help actually, but it was the moccasins type shoe that it dates back from the Bronze Age. So it literally went through to sort of late 1400s. So really, it could have been anywhere between those sort of dates. So in the end, archaeologists couldn't really agree to its age. So there was only one outcome, really, and that was to send it off to be carbon dated. So it went off to be carbon dated in Scotland, a special carbon dating unit. I was luckily, the shoe got sponsored by several people, which I'd like to thank again: James Preston, Steve Trim, Beachford Park in Folkestone, who all helped with the funding. And they're absolutely brilliant. I wanted to be part of the shoe. So the shoe went off, and within 4 weeks, the results came back, and when I got the phone call, I think my tongue just went, just literally came out of my mouth. I couldn't believe it. and they dated it with a mean date of 1017 to 1059 AD within the late Anglo-Saxon period. And I couldn't believe it, because I'd have been happy. If you say 1500s, yeah, I'm happy with that, brilliant. But to come back with a date like that was, I can't believe it even now. It's extraordinary to think. The shoe was so well preserved as well. Really, because it's been sitting in clay mud. The water has literally, the sea's gone over every day, and it's been airtight. So literally no air has got into that shoe whatsoever, which literally has preserved it so well. And you can still see the original toe and heel marks on that shoe, which is extra. People, I've had lots of emails and phone calls saying, do you realise, how rare that is? You just do not see, footprint, toe prints and heel marks, you don't see it. You just don't see it. And, you sort of look at it and you think, there's museum interest at the moment. So it's sort of gone around the planet, I think, from something that I first originally looked at and thought, well, I don't know, been this away, it's turned out it's ended up going down to New Zealand, the reports, Australia, Austria, Switzerland. It's gone absolutely mad, because I think late Anglo-Saxon periods was rare to find, because being it just before the Battle of Hastings of 1066, it could be potentially my last artefacts found before that period. I still, over the moon, I still can't believe it, really. It hasn't sunk in. I don't think it will sink in for a little while. So
where is the shoe currently?
Well, I have it. I have it at the moment. It's been recorded with the Portable Antiquities scheme, because everything archaeological-wise I find like that, if it's Roman or anything, it will always be reported. I would never sort of have it and just, take it. It always gets recorded. And then it will go to be preserved from there.
Now let's be honest now. Have you been tempted to try it on?
Do that and you don't fit me.
So have they said was it a male or female's, child's or adult shoe?
They think it's roughly about a size 5. So I would imagine, unless it's a very, very small man out there, I would say it's probably going to be female.
Mm-hmm. So have you not got any females with the right size foot? You never know, it might be the Cinderella option.
Yeah, that's too funny, Dave. That's what I was thinking.
I think a nice flower pot sits in there, but I'm sort of like, that's a different story. But no, it's incredible, really, and it's one of those magic moments in life.
Absolutely. Now, Mike obviously can. I'll let you carry on, Mike. You crack on. I'll ask again in a minute.
I was just going to say real quick. Tonight is the drawing for the two tickets to Spring Detectival.
It certainly is.
We're going to be doing that soon. Luke's going to be doing that, and we'll get it announced here on the show. He sent me a link. I was going through the link. Wow, did a lot of people put in for that. A lot of people. So that ought to be fun. And we will get that announced when Luke does that. I think he's busy posting it right now, and then we'll let everybody know.
God, I didn't even realise there was so many people. I'm just looking at it myself.
Right? Huge, isn't it?
Gosh, certainly is. So thank you, obviously, each and every one of you for taking part in that competition, and good luck to everybody. And for those of you who don't know, listening, Spring Detectival, the main event being taken place in September, ran courtesy of the Metal Detectives group, closely supported by LP Leisure Promotions and Pete Terrell, who was on the show last week. And this event, the Spring Detectival, has been put into place on totally different new locality by both LP and by Metal Detectives. and it's basically a precursor to the main event in September, to give everybody the opportunity to try to get involved a little bit more again. So again, good luck to everybody with that.
And Luke posted the link to it just now also, which I'm guessing it's over to enter. Am I right, or can they still enter?
I'm presuming they can still enter. That's it's available on ArchMD Mag. If you go www.archmdmag.com, you'll see on the news section the free spring detectable tickets competition. If I'm right, or is that Luke? Could you text me quickly to tell me if that is now closed, or are we okay to continue adding entries to that? No, sorry, it's over. I do apologise.
Okay.
He's just mexed me now. So that competition entries are now over. The entries are the people who have. This page is what people who have entered, and the draw will be put into place at the moment. So good luck to everyone with that. Michael, would you like to crack on?
Yeah. Let's take a quick break if that's okay, and let's run our advertisement, and we'll be right back. How's that? You guys ready for a break?
Marvelous.
Okay, we'll be right back.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectives and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcast and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.
All right, we're back. And I just got Andy. I was sitting here following the chat. I was too busy to respond, but he said he's been working metal detecting. He's getting back out. He's been working on what they think's Saxon Cemetery. Ooh, wow. How cool would that be?
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So we were going to continue. Mike, if you obviously, I don't know if you know the story. I spoke last night with Steve about this. The image you can see on his Skype is that of a how would you describe it without saying what it is at the moment, Steve?
A black pot.
A black pot.
Probably.
So
with a pattern.
Steve found a black pot. Now, you've told your story about the peculiar incident with what you had when you were metal detecting once, Mike. Mikey Wesley.
Oh no! I'm thinking. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Your paranormal type events that you had.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So I was telling Steve about this last night. So Steve, you found said black pot. Can you give us the story behind said black pot?
Beyond the black pot. Okay. Right. Out and about again, and it was just incredible, really. I just on this bit of mud. And this bit of pot was sticking out, literally, and it was pretty much in the clay mud, to be honest, pretty deep. Put my hands round and pulled out on top of this black pot. Am I allowed to say what it is yet? Or
you can say what it was. You can
say what it is now.
You can get to the point by the following what happened next, maybe.
Yeah, so I pulled out this the top of a Roman pot. So I was absolutely chuffed to bits. As you understand, full of clay inside. So sort of got all the clay out, washed it down a little bit, and it had a lovely. Well, it's got a nice pattern on it. They called it sort of lattice pattern, a cross pattern, and it's aged about 2,000 years old. And it was made by a comb. So literally in the Roman days, 2nd century AD, they would have got a comb and they just would have gone down this pot they just made. And they just would have combed it one way and then combed it the other way. Hence the sort of name, sort of lattice design. So chuffed as anything. Absolutely chuffed as anything. Took it home. I mean, I've always been in the Roman history anyway. Absolutely, yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. As I said to you last night, Dave, my parents took me anywhere, Roman museums all around the country, because I don't know what it is in that part of history I just love the Roman era. And to see pottery behind glass, you just think, just love to touch a bit of that. Love to touch a bit of that.
Yeah, I get that.
Being a kid, you just couldn't. So, but then to find a bit, and which has been untouched by anybody for nearly 2,000 years, to a breath away, really. But as you say, Dave, as I said last night, the story didn't end there, did it?
No, it didn't.
Sixth Sense, I suppose. Sixth Sense was something was telling me inside to go back to the same area, and I did that 4 weeks later, and a little bit of something was sticking out of the clay. I didn't know what it was at the time, so I scooped my hands round and found a base.
Oh, wow.
So the base was also Roman with a lattice pattern design. And straight away I thought, brilliant, I can't believe it. Absolutely gobsmacked, brilliant, fantastic. Washed it out, once again took it home. Thinking on the way home, could it just be that bit that I just picked up 4 weeks later, the top part? And I thought, no, billion to one chance, no chance. Got it home, put it together, complete pot.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's absolutely gorgeous as well. I don't know if you're able to, at some point, send me a picture of the pot and the shoe, and I can put them on the All Metal Mode UK podcast.
Of course, yeah, you're more than welcome.
Everyone to see. But obviously, what I can see on the Skype at the moment is an absolutely stunning piece of history you've got there.
I just couldn't believe it, and you can actually still smell. I mean, the actual pot itself was used for hot water or soup, and you can actually still smell the burning, the actual heat inside that pot after 2,000 years. So it's absolutely incredible, yeah.
That's wild.
Sort of blown away, really, and yes, and shortly after, sort of pretty recent, really. I came across this other small pot. It's only about 3 inches by 3 inches. And it turned out to be another Roman pot, roughly about the same age, 2,000 years, which would have held essential oils for bath time within the Roman era. And you can, funny enough, believe it or not, you can still smell the oil that they used nearly 2,000 years ago. And, yeah, extraordinary, really.
Certainly sounds it. So thereafter, when you discovered the pot, you've reported it to the Portable Antiquities Scheme.
Yes.
What happened thereafter?
It gets recorded. So literally, I mean, that is the antiques database, really. That is the finds database. So you've done literally everything legitimately. It's gone to them. They record it. They take photos, be on their database, and then really, it's down to they make a decision whether it then goes as treasure or not treasure, really.
The reason I asked you, obviously, is because listeners to the programme predominantly are metal detectorists, and I just wanted them to see that the same processes are adhered to by not just metal detectorists, archaeologists,
Yes.
or anybody involved in history?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any sort of find like that, it has to be recorded. It has to be recorded to the local FLO, Finds Liaison Officer. So it's legitimately done. They're fully aware of it. So it then decides what happens then. We keep it or it goes elsewhere. But the last thing you want to do is to be caught. Having stuff. It's not worth it, and it's not my cup of tea anyway. I want to do things up front and do things properly. And because I think archaeology is for people. It doesn't matter who finds it. It's our history, and that's when you find such a thing, it's you have to go down that route.
1 second, guys. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Luke just told me the winners of the tickets. Our first winner is Peter Cadera. I hope I'm saying that right. Cadera. And Jackie Smith.
Jackie Smith. Congratulations, Jackie, friend of mine.
Oh, great.
She's got a YouTube channel. So if anybody obviously would like to learn a little bit more about Jackie Smith, I'm currently in the process of trying to find it. But she's been working with us for a while now. She allows us to utilise her videos through the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So if anybody's interested, it's Jackie Smith Metal Detecting videos. Jackie Smith's is one word and metal detecting is one word. Fantastic little YouTube channel. So congratulations, and to the other gentleman as well. Well done.
Absolutely, that's awesome. That's great. Okay.
Now, particularly on mudlarking, I'm just reading through tonight's comments. We've actually got a gentleman, and please accept my apologies, Vincent, if I say your last name incorrectly. Vincent Rolofs. He mudlarks and detects on the banks of the River Rhine in Germany, which certainly sounds brilliant. Richard Lincoln. He walked about 400 yards with a massive piece of petrified wood on his shoulder that he found on the Thames in London. It half killed him, but it now lives in his office at work. He emailed the Museum of London with photos, but heard nothing back, so it's his. So, again, thanks for everybody to, if you've got any brief memories or thoughts on, or questions even for Steve, please get them into the... Oh, sorry, Vincent, it's in Holland, not Germany. Even better. I've been to Holland, I haven't been to Germany. If anybody's got any questions or information regarding times that they've been involved in mudlarking, be it in London, be it on the Rhine, be it anywhere, give us a shout and we'll discuss it as well tonight. That'd be great. Thank you.
Steve, I got a quick question. Do you do any metal detecting?
No, I've got one. I was luckily bought one as a present. And but no, I haven't actually been out. I had to go years ago, actually years and years ago. But life changes as it does. Other things happen, so I've never got around to doing it. No, so I'd love to come out with you guys for a lovely metal detecting session, and you can show me all the ropes. And find all these lovely coins and these gold coins, and it'd be brilliant.
I said to Steve last night when we spoke, Mike. He said, you'd have to give me some points on metal detectors. I said, don't ask me, for God's sake. Ask Mike or Luke, you'd be fine with them. Don't ask me.
Luke's offered me out metal detecting. He said, come up, Steve, and we'll go out and we have some nice fields and we'll go out metal detecting. So I think, definitely take you up on that one.
Well,
He'll definitely look after you there.
Yeah, he will. Nice guy.
I would think it could be a great tool while you're mudlarking, was my thought.
No, you're absolutely right, actually, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, it will be going on my travels very shortly, definitely.
That's great. Great.
So what machine is it, if you don't mind me asking, Steve?
It's an OTEC.
Oh, right. DR Tech. Is
yes.
that I think that's a Chinese machine or Japanese, one of the Asian markets anyway.
It did come in a pot noodle, so was that definitely Chinese then, was it?
To be honest, one of them. Did you say you tried using one in the past, Mike?
No, I'm actually looking it up right now because I've never heard of them. I don't think.
Well, to be honest, I had an email off the company a couple of weeks ago, which I still need to respond to because, as ever, I'm far too bloody busy with life. From China to ask myself and Luke, would we assist them in testing some of their equipment? In particular, in this case, was the pinpointers. So I've got to get back to them. So hopefully we'll be able to get.
What's the name?
DR OTEC, I think it is. Let me just check.
I tried it outside. I tell you what, it's got a really nice. It was quite nice. Yeah, it got a really good response actually. It was from a rusty nail that I picked up from the field, but that's as far as I got. But it was really. I was quite impressed with it. I don't know very little about metal detectors, but yeah, I was for the little bit I did, I was quite impressed actually. Yeah.
Right, Mike, I've just shared the link to that in the comments of this broadcast.
Okay.
So
well, I've got a chance in going out on. I've been asked to do some private fields with some landowners. We've got a good history, so I'm going to need one anyway. If I know, I'll take that one out. Or so any pinpointers is absolutely fantastic because it looked three very, very promising sites. So anything around, so like I'll do it two actually. To be honest, I think we'll take a spare one and I'll have a one for about sort of 700-800 or something.
So again. Something else that we discussed last night was your other hobby, again, historically related. And again, it's something that me and Mike discussed at the start of the All Metal Mode UK podcasts, was that of bottle digging.
Yes.
Where, again, Mike, I'm not 100% sure if you have this in the US. In the UK, there's multiple bottle dumps, old bottles from many years ago throughout the UK, and people like Steve go and find these locations and dig up the bottles, and in some cases some of these bottles or pots and such like could bring a lot of money in on eBay or auctions and stuff. Tell us a little bit about bobble digging. Girls' hair. Tell us a bit about bottle digging, if you don't mind.
Well, again, I think it's researching really sort of like any old sort of bottle dumps, really. Not necessarily local, but sort of really anywhere. And really sort of like, once you know the site holds bottles or, places like that, then you have a good look around, start digging and be very, very surprised what you actually find, to be honest. It's amazing, different types of bottles, sort of poison bottles and things like that, medical bottles, and it's just extraordinary, really. It's absolutely extraordinary. I was on a site very recently, 3 weeks ago, which is pulled out about 60, 70 bottles. There wasn't anything there special at the moment, but there's still a lot to do on that site. But the potential is massive, absolutely massive. What could be there?
That's great.
Yeah. Mm.
We have them. We have them here too. We've got bottle dumps. Matter of fact, on last Monday's show, we had a guest that was talking about bottle dumps. Now we also dig privies here. Do you ever dig the privies?
Toilets.
Yeah, the old toilets.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I'll get bogged down. I think I did that one. I think.
There are obviously in archaeological terms middens that are looked at, which are basically dump sites. It's like where they throw all the rubbish. In short, a dunghill or refuse heap from olden day times. But no, I wouldn't necessarily find myself digging up a toilet, Mike.
It's sterile after, I think they say it's roughly 2 years. So when you're digging them and they're 100+ years old, you're digging in sterile.
Yeah, but Mike, I'd end up finding the Victorian version of my bum there, and it's something I really wouldn't like to introduce myself to.
It's actually really interesting. Here in a lot of parts of the United States, they would throw bottles and other trash down there, and then they'd fill them in every few years and move it over 4 foot, and you could do it again. And I mean, I've seen coins come out. We've found some beautiful bottles, dolls. Buttons, I mean, pocket watches, you name it. They threw it or dropped it down in there. And they are sterile. There's no smell. There's never any, you don't run into any grossness, but it is funny. My very first one, there were these white dots all over the place when we got down pretty deep, and the guy I was digging it with, been doing it for a lot of years, and I said, "What is all that?" And he laughed. He said, That's seeds they pooped out. So, wow. Yeah, it's kind of gross, but, I mean, it is sterile. It is, and, I mean, you're not running into anything gross at all other than the seeds that you know that's been digested through somebody's body. But
do you know, to be honest, Mike, many years ago, back in the 1990s, I was an industrial cleaner, which was high-pressure water jetting and whatnot. And myself and one of my friends, we were the only two people to do and I'm going to say the swear word, shit jobs, which were basically sewers, effluent plants, etc., etc. We're the only ones who do it because I think we became immune to the smell. And we were doing all I can say what it was like the Cabin Club in Liverpool. It was an underground Victorian settling pit, and it was Victorian level dung in there that stayed for hundreds of years, and we were using a fire extinguisher to break it up, and it was being sucked up by a tanker, and yeah, we could see the seeds. Fair play, we could see the seeds. We could also see a hell of a lot of sweet corn and condoms as well.
Oh no, must have been carrot as well, Dave. Surely, wouldn't it? It's always carrot.
I'll always remember the sweet corn. It did not make me laugh. I could tell you another story about that, but it's not for.
Well, years ago, I suppose you know, the skips were never involved, were they? Never invented, were they? So the only way to get rid of them was to literally dig a hole and bury them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I actually only know of one, and it is a Victorian site. In Buxton, that was introduced to many years ago. A good 5-10 years ago, and you could see some pieces of pottery and such like on top, but I just never got round to, because it was in a public place. I just never got round to doing anything. To be fair,
yeah, it's always a good sign when you got broken pottery and broken bowls on top. That's a good sign that you've potentially got a good site. Yeah. That's definitely, yeah.
So when you go in bottle diggling, I'm doing well in. When you go bubble diggling, as we'll call it now, when you go bubble diggling, how far do you generally have you dug down? What's the deepest you've dug down, and what would be the shallowest you've actually found something of consequence?
Shallowest probably about a foot, I suppose. Really, I've gone down about 6 foot, 6-7 foot. But again, safety-wise, you've got to be careful, because if you're on your own and you're down a hole, you've got to be careful of subsidence. So, because if it does subside, you're not getting out again. So, you've got to be really careful. You've got to mark it out. You've got to, you can't just dig a random hole, and you've got to really square it off. You do a proper job on it, really.
Yeah.
If you start digging randomly and bits and bobs here and turf flying left, right, and centre, north, east, south, and west, and God knows what, you can end up in trouble. So you've got to do it, square it off, dig it deep, and then you go from there. But you do. Literally, I think once you've hit a good spot, then normally you will get quite a bit out. I've had some nice Victorian sort of bottles, sort of 1880s. Around about that sort of period, which is quite nice. Yeah.
And have you had anything that has been worth anything of consequence? Any very rare finds?
Well, I've had one recently for about About 300 or 400, but that's all right with the landowner at the moment.
Right.
So, because I mean, at the moment I've got three sites that sort of two I've yet to do, which are with landowners, and contracts have been signed up with them all to do things properly, because you can get problems. If you find something, disagreement, so it's all been contracted out, proper signed agreement, signed contract, so we both know where we are. And then, the contract can literally say anything, but you've got to agree on it. So, if you find anything really, really good, worth of value, then you decide how that's going to go, whether you go halves, whether he keeps it, whether I keep it. It depends on the interest of the landowner. But, health and safety as well, insurance you have to think about as well. A lot of people think, digging a hole, trying to get a bottle out, but there's a hell of a lot more to it than that. You have to cover yourself. Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun in the past. I haven't done one in a while, but I like both privy digging and digging in dumps, and it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, you can have days where you sort of think, "Oh, what am I doing here?" And it's where you think you're absolutely brilliant. Yeah, you don't want to leave, and but yeah, I think if you were, if you're on a landowner side, you got to leave it respectable when you're finished as well. And but it's good fun. It's great. It really is good.
So when you actually hit a site and you've got what would be your average collection of bottles at that point when you go to a site and you're having a really good day? How many bottles would you bring out with you?
Wow, good question. You could end up with triple figures easily. If you got recently I was at one where it's putting out about sort of 100, 120 within an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's quite hard going sometimes. And at the time there wasn't a lot of great interest in a lot of them really. There was a few which were nice, but you could on a good day, hundreds. Yeah. You could have a bad day and put out literally nothing, or a good day where you can put out quite a few.
How do you get them back to your car? Do you bag them up, or is it wheelbarrow job?
Well, I think what I've got to do is hire a horse. I think just go on horseback. So I think that's for the future. I don't know. Turn like Arnold Schwarzenegger at the moment. I think it's a 2 a ton. It's well, I think really you decide which ones you want, and you could end up collecting the same bottle 50 times, and just a complete waste of time really. You just pick the ones that if you've been a little while, exactly which ones you would like to keep. The others literally will probably get filled back in the hole, to be fair, and then turfed over again. And but yeah, I've had some days where it's been a bit weighty carrying those back.
The hardest part about being a bottle digger is coming across that super rare or that super valuable one that's busted. You find a piece of it. How many times have you? Isn't that just heartbreak? That's what I found the hardest, to find that rare bottle, and you find a chunk of it. And what really stinks is when you're digging them, and you see it, and it's the more it looks like it's complete, and the more you uncover it, you find it is broken. And those are always, but on the other side of that, when you find that and you're hoping and crossing your fingers, and the more you dig and you find it is whole, those are great too. But it's a real up and down. It's a real up and down thing for me, because you'll find a bottle that's. We dug a privy in my backyard when I lived in Ohio, Dave, and the guy I was with is much more knowledgeable on bottles. And we dug. It was a shallow pit about 4 foot deep, and he got down to about 4 foot, and there was this piece of bottle. And at first glance, he thought it was whole until he dug a little more. I thought he was going to cry, It was an ultra rare, very old bottle, and that like it ruined his day. We have a question from Aaron, South Coast Detecting. Have you had any injuries bottle digging?
Not yet. No, I've been sunburnt. Last year, although they were sort of like done all the precautions, we had sun cream and everything, but somehow I came back with my back absolutely burnt, and so but touch wood, so far, no real injuries.
Wear gloves. If you're going to be in a trash pit, you want knee pads, something like that, so you're not kneeling down on glass. And go slow. You want diggers, a small hand digger, I would recommend. A lot of different tools you can use.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right, Mike. I think you got to take, you can't just go in there with a bag and a spade. You got to have everything, and as crazy as it is, summer days you need food, water, essentials. You need every bit of essential you need. Get a sunny day, you dehydrate, you're in trouble. You're down a hole which is potentially 10 foot deep, and you're dehydrating. You're in serious trouble. So there is problems, which can arise, but you have to you have to take precautions.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be careful, but it's common sense. Common sense.
It is absolutely,
be careful.
Absolutely.
I asked you last night about how you would actually find a bottle digging site. Obviously, it's something that many people, myself included, Aaron from South Coast Detecting, I'm sure Luke would like to go, and I'm sure there's many other people who are interested in bottle digging. The actual finding of them, to me, seems... I can't comprehend how you'd know where there's a bottle dump. I really can't. Is another chap I know, Andy Jones, he goes bottle digging, and he's done great out of it, much like yourself, no doubt. But for me, I just can't comprehend how you actually know where there's going to be a bottle dump.
I'm really curious for this answer over there. I'd like to say real quick, over here, follow the creeks and the rivers. They always dumped them over the creeks and even the rivers, and over hills. Look for high spots on those creeks and rivers, and that is a really good start for us in the United States. And then real quick, a question. Aaron wants to know, how popular is bottle digging, and are there any groups? Of course, he's talking UK, so maybe you guys can speak on that.
Yeah, it's very, very popular actually in the UK. There's bottle digging sites which you can go on to, which is on Facebook. There's a lot of guys go out there, they've been doing it for years, a lot of people. And they've come up with some absolutely fantastic bottles. They really have. And, some of them go into bottle fairs, some of them get kept. There's a lot of bottle fairs around the country. And... it's more popular, probably what people think actually. But it's good. Yeah, it is good.
Fascinating. But so as I said, in England, how when you first went bottle digging, how did you know where to go?
Well, I first went bottle digging probably about 25 years ago, and it's very hard. Bottle digging is hard because you've got to do a lot of research because they're not on maps. Very, very hard to find on maps. Very, very difficult. You do your research. Perhaps country houses. Every probably country house would have had a bottle dumping site of some kind. But it is a difficult one. It is a very, very difficult one. You can talk to old people, which is quite funny. I've talked to various old people, and they say, "Oh yeah, we know where this one is. Oh yeah, we know where that one is." And do you know what? They're right. They're right. I know exactly where they are. And I know a lot of bottle digging sites now in Thanet, and they're further afield and. Sometimes the word gets around that you're doing it, and I've been approached by 3 landowners to go and do their sites now. But it's time consuming. It does take a lot of time, and but can be very rewarding. But it's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to find the sites. But I think you've just got to do your research on the history of different areas, not necessarily local, and then hit and miss. Try it, give it a go, research it, and see how far you get with it.
And obviously, after that difficult thing has passed, you've actually got to start digging down a 6 foot square hole.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're either going to look an idiot, or you sort of, you do get some funny looks.
Hey, Steve, I know here in the United States, pretty common. Look for a small town, find the creek or the river, and find where they dump. Because the cities would dump up until, I want to say even the 30s, 1930s a lot here. But it would be the same dump. You dig down deep and you'll find the good stuff. Do you find that there?
Shallow streams. Yeah, shallow streams definitely very good in a quite a populated area, surrounded by pubs. Shallow streams. I've found a couple which are very good. Yeah, they can be very, very good.
Okay.
Because they, especially shallow streams, because you can get in there with literally sort of like half the water up to your Wellington boots, and you're nice and clear water, and you can get quite a bit, and you'll be surprised what gets chucked away. It's quite amazing, really.
I've walked streams before, and then actually walking a stream once, there was a jug. We're talking mid to late 1800s. We don't have the age like you guys do, but we pulled it out and then started up the hill a little bit, and then there was a cliff, and there was a huge dump there. Here in the United States, every one of them that I've found, I think just about all of them, it was like a big cliff real close to a creek, and they dumped over the cliff. Very common here. It might be completely different there, but here that's.
Yeah, it's like a lot of luck as well, because you could get a site with literally nothing, which you think, oh, that looks good, but end up with nothing, or another site you think, oh, doesn't look like much here, and end up getting quite a few bits. Yeah, no, it's not a lot, but I think if you do your research, that's key. At least you're on the right track to start with, anyway. And I sort of like. Looking forward to probably do this during the summer, probably late spring, summer, and seeing what these sites actually are going to hold. But it's got a lot of history. It dates back a lot of years, these sites, a lot of years. So it'll be quite fascinating.
That's awesome.
To see what happens.
Aaron's very interested. He has another question. Are there any laws surrounding bottle dumps?
You can't just go on to. Oh dear, it depends probably where you are. You can't officially go on to any sort of bottle dumps. You really got to do your research where exactly you are. It's probably the answer to that one. A lot of bottle dumps are on private land. The last thing you want to do is go onto private land, start digging a hole, get in trouble with the law. Things like that. So you've got to be really. The key thing is really, I think, is to do your research, get serious access to that site, get permission really to go onto that site. Don't just turn up in the hope there's going to be. Or even if you see bottles on a site and you think, oh, I'll just go in there and start digging around. You just don't do that. You go through the proper channels. Find might be some farmer's field or whatever. Contact the farmer, say, can I get onto your land? Would you mind? I'm so and so. I'm interested in doing a bit of bottle digging. Is there a problem? Once you've done that, you've covered all angles, and then you can rest. Yes. I think if you're going onto a site that you're going to be like, oh God, somebody watching me, or I shouldn't really be on here, or all you're going to do every minute is you're going to be panicking.
What's the oldest bottles you pulled out of dumps?
Wow. I think around about 1850s.
Wow.
Yeah, about 1850. Yeah. I do have older bottles here off a shipwreck, which is dated 1700s.
Oh, wow.
Which has got the canker shell still on it, which was very, very nice. Got 4 of those now, actually. Yeah, 4 of those. Yeah, which is very, very nice. So, yeah, it's lovely. Yeah. And one still had the original wine in, dating from about 1780. So, and it absolutely stunk. Well, I poured it away. Yeah, it's sort of
funny.
There was an instance of bottle digging in my parts near Congleton a couple of years ago now, where a landowner was basically devastated by the fact his land was getting ruined by people from he claims was from Liverpool turning up on his land when it was dark and bottle digging. So it's the advice you've just given applies exactly the same to metal detectorists as well when it comes to the must you to do when you're trying to get land and what have you. And it's the same with bottle digging at night as night hawking. It's something that it's something that in these parts in Cheshire where I live that the police are looking at rural crime a lot more lately than they've done in the past, and obviously night hawking and bottle digging at night falls directly into that law, I think.
Yes, yeah, that's it. I mean, just really cover your back. Do it the proper way. You start sneaking around these sites, and at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. You'll get caught, and then you'll be in trouble. And do it the proper way. If the landowner doesn't want you on there, absolutely fine.
I mean, the big difference is, if somebody's night hawking on a field, they can pick the bloody metal detector up and run away. It's a bit difficult to get out of a 7-foot hole.
Right. Hey, guys, we got to end this pretty quick. Okay, real quick. Aaron said, when I say laws, I mean more to do with the age of the fines. I'm guessing you're not going to get into bottle dumps that are like Steve's saying mid-1800s. I'm guessing there's no laws on any of that, is there?
No, not as far as I'm aware, I don't think.
Yeah.
No, I think really the only thing really is make sure you've got permission to take. Really, I don't think, as far as I'm aware, there's any particular law regarding that.
Okay, I figured not. I don't think you're gonna. Yeah. I mean, if you run into some, I guess they've been making bottles for hundreds of years. Maybe if you got into the right pit, old enough, but I'm guessing that's really unlikely. Guys, we need to bring this to a wrap. Steph just texted me, and I need to get off of here. Andre is not available. I messaged him to let me know when he's available, and I haven't heard back, so maybe we'll try to get him on the next show, Dave.
No problem. Well, I've spoke to Steve anyway, and Steve's agreed to come on future broadcasts just to give us a few updates about what's occurred in his hobbies, and obviously to tell anybody who's interested in anything else. So thank you for that, and obviously thank you for coming on tonight, Steve.
You're more than welcome, Dave. It's been lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. It was a pleasure having you on. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Okay, we're gonna call it a wraps. We hope you enjoyed the show, and Dave, it was fun as always.
Thanks, my friend. Look forward to next week.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.